I searched the internet just before the show began, and I found that when you type in the word genealogy, you get 200 million, actually more than 200 million hits. I tried family history, and I got, 145 million hits. Now, even if 80-90% of that is for Ancestry, Family Search, and MyHeritage, and some of the other big ones, that still leaves a lot of room for people like me and you who have websites out there. But what is it that makes a website a genealogy website? We'll look at that next on the Genealogy Software Showcase. Hello, my name is Ed Thompson. I'm your host on the Genealogy Software Showcase. So this is my 20th episode. Nothing magical about 20. I could have waited until I hit 100, but they just seemed to be the right time to do something special. And one of the things, we're looking at software that can help you with your genealogy, whatever you're focusing on with that. And so I thought it was time to start looking at the internet. And specifically kind of modeling after a show of homes or parade of homes. I wanted to see what kind of websites some of you had, and I also wanted to see specifically what kind of websites are out there, because all websites are not created equal. Now, if you don't have a website, maybe you've thought about having one, but struggled with, well, what do I want to do with my website? We're going to be looking at websites in what I've categorized in 5 different categories. So, the 5 categories that I've divided up the websites I found into are, of course, a blog. That is people who are writing about genealogy, writing about their family, and other things of interest to the genealogy community. There's resources, which I think is be self-evident once we hit those pages. There is promotion, which it might be promoting a genealogy-related product. It might be promoting a podcast. It might be promoting a video series, whatever that might be, and we'll look at several of those. There are society pages out there that show you a schedule of events and invite you to participate in your local genealogy society. And then there's a category that I kind of lumped in special interest, and these are websites that serve almost a unique purpose, something very, very different. It might be niche, it may not be niche, and you'll see what I mean when we look at those. Now, if along the way you have questions, I'm going to try and keep up with the chat. I see Linda Stufflebean is here. Linda, I think you'll be seeing your page in just a little bit. And let's look at, we're going to start with blogs. So let me get this out of the way. So the first blog that I'm featuring in today, and let me start by saying there are probably dozens of sites out there that will tell you the top 5, the top 10, the top 50 websites. I'm not trying to rate any of these websites. I'm also not I'm not saying these are the best of the best of the best. I thought they were all very good websites. Some of them just, wow, really caught my attention. And what I'm focused on is showing you websites from different those 5 different areas. So don't get upset if your favorite website isn't featured. Feel free to mention it in the comments. I keep looking this way in the comments because I've got the comments rolling on my other screen. So this first website was submitted to us in the Facebook group by Teresa Basinska Eckford. And this is a traditional blog. Now, one of the things I was looking for on each of these sites was something that told me what the website was about. And on her About page, Teresa says, for more than 20 years, I have been working on my family tree and want to start telling the stories I have gathered, as well as share my adventures in genealogy or research. Now, both of these are a common theme on genealogy blogs. I want to share with you what I've discovered, and it's also it's a place where where you as the author can put down and start collecting your information, and then also sharing the adventure. Genealogy, this hobby, is a journey. We're all learning things along the way, whether it's the best way to do citations, whether it's the best place to find pictures, whether it's discoveries about our families that we never even considered. And that kind of sums up a lot of what Teresa has done here. Now, I went down here and looked at, she's got her About page, which is the one we're looking at right now, and then Ancestor landing pages. And these are really where the stories are. So I'm going to dig down into this first one for Carolyn Lawley. And you see here that she starts with a picture, which is wonderful. I don't know how so many of you have pictures of your ancestors that go so far back. Because I don't think any of my ancestors even discovered photography until at least the 40s. But Teresa, you've got some excellent pictures here. You start with, over the course of her 69 years, she lived a full life. So this blog entry, a good blog writer, she's bringing her ancestor to life. She includes maps of some of the areas that she refers to, and both in kind of the the older form that may represent the time period that the ancestor came from, and of course newer records that would be something that we could relate to. She has some traditional genealogy forms on the page as well. And all in all, I found this to be a very well-balanced representation of what you can do with a blog post. So kudos to you, Teresa. I thought this was a very pretty page, very easy to follow, very easy to read. Now, the only other thing I'll mention here, and it'll come up again, is she has a section here, My Genealogy Toolbox. And basically, this is an area where she has gathered a list of resources that she has referred to and offers to her visitors as where you can go to learn more or find more records. So very much sharing with the community here. So thank you, Teresa, for that. The next website was presented by another one of our viewers, Alona Tester. Now, Alona's in Australia, and somebody's going to probably correct me and tell me it's New Zealand, not Australia. I think it's Australia. So she may not be up yet, but she has a very nice website here, and she's using tiles to capture and invite you in to the various stories she tells. Now, some of the stories here are about general history that relate in some way to her ancestors or to the area that she's representing. Some of them are, based on 52 weeks of genealogy or special days in Australian history or holidays or whatever else there might be. She's got information about the various countries her ancestors came from. Let's pick one. Let's go to Finland. Odd for a... So these are all her posts that indicate Finland in some way. And you can see here that she had... So she's doing some research there. So she also is sharing her journey. And when looking at her stated purpose, I have been fortunate enough to have worked in the family history industry for many years and have gained a lot of knowledge on products, websites, and records available to researchers, which I hope to share with you. And I think that's what all of us are trying to do with our websites. We're trying to share. We have these things that we've discovered about our ancestors or discovered about history, things that may not be new to everybody, but they were new to us, and we got excited about it, and we want to share our excitement. And I think that's the I think that's the joy of a genealogy website, as well as the challenge of a genealogy website. One of the things that you need to consider if you have or are thinking about a genealogy website is, what do you want your visitor to experience? Too often, we look at our websites from the perspective of what I want to do, what I want to write, what I want. We focus on the creator or the author. And if we take the approach of what we want the visitor to experience, then I think our traffic will go up. We'll start telling stories of more general interest. And just all in all, we'll have a better website. When I look at Teresa's, I've gathered as well as share my adventures. Alona, I have these things and records I want to share with you. So the focus is on you as the visitor. And Alona has a very good website for that. Louise, Alona has kangaroos and koalas that frequent her backyard. She takes pictures of them and has named them all. Yeah, I actually follow, and you probably do too. I follow Alona on Facebook, and she takes some wonderful, wonderful photographs. Okay, so the next blog I want to go to, some of you may be familiar with, and this is Dear Myrtle. This is a website. Let me see what I captured about it. This is a general interest website as well as a promotional website to promote her various webinars, live streams, and sometimes just last minute videos that she does. If we look across the top, she also does regular blogging, and this is the 52 things. When you see the 52, usually it's someone out there. I know Amy Johnson Crow has done it. I don't know that she was the first, but basically they're hints about what you could write about if you want to blog every day. And there's several of those out there, and it can be a good way to spur your thoughts on what you want to write. Now, I probably have tried, and I can't write every day. But if I was trying to maybe write even every week, these would be great cues for me to decide on various content that I could be writing about. Okay, so this is hilarious to me. I just realized I'm trying real hard to focus into the camera instead of looking at what's on the screen. And you, of course, can't see me focusing in the camera because I don't have that little round circle in the corner. I didn't want to block any of the websites. So I'm going to stop focusing at the camera so hard. It's starting to look at me weird. She has posting here about hybrid society meetings. So this would be societies that want to include virtual with their in-person meetings. And so she's providing information about how you can do some of the things that she does in contributing to the genealogy community. J. Ray, has anyone used Google Sites to create a genealogy website? So I think Google Sites is from when they bought Blogger. And if I'm right about that, then I've got a couple of those featured. The ones that I've looked at so far, Teresa was using a WordPress.com website. Alona, I think, was also using WordPress. Dear Myrtle, I believe, has a custom website builder there. And the next one we're going to look at is from Blogger. So this is a website, blog from Maurice. Oh, what's his last name? Maurice. I got it written down. Hold on. Maurice Gleason. I met Maurice on one of the genealogy cruises, the one to Alaska a few years ago. And he provides a lot of expertise in the area of DNA, but also other research topics. And what he's done with Free Blogger websites is he's actually created separate logs. If I'm reading this correctly, let's see, commemorating the missing. So these are missing from, let me think for a minute because I remember them yeah, missing soldiers from the First and Second World War. And it's a commemorative as well as educational blog in that way. But what I found interesting about what Maurice has done here is he has several blogs. He's separated out his content into separate blogs. And I say that because what I'm seeing is the URL at the top of the page is changing. So here's a blog that he has specifically about a 2016 gathering that was being organized. We also have DNA and family tree research, kind of a general topic. Now, if you don't know, all of the Blogger or Blogspot websites are free. You have a limited number of themes to choose from. You see here that Maurice has done a lot of different things with different colors. So he's themed each of these blogs separately. But just a wide variety of different content. And if you're thinking about a blog website for your genealogy, but you're not sure, Blogger, it might be an excellent, well, it is. It's an excellent place for you to start because it is free and you don't get a lot of advertisements. I'm curious now about the question, Jay Ray's question about Google Sites. I want to see if that's a separate Google Sites sign-in. Oh, interesting. I haven't used Google Sites, so I know I've heard of it, and then it went in one ear, out the other. So that's it for Maurice and his collection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 general interest blogs to fill out that category. But what you can see here is if you're struggling with, well, I want a blog, but I don't know what I want it to focus on. You see here he's focused on his own history, broken up some things by various DNA projects, also planning for events. So he's got a wide spectrum of genealogy websites. Not all of them will be traditionally classified as blogs, but you can use Blogger for non-blog things. So it's a tool for your toolbox. Louis, didn't you meet most of the people you've already highlighted on that cruise? Yes, a lot of them were on that cruise. I had met several of them before the cruise, though. Maurice, I hadn't had the opportunity. Alona, of course, I met on the cruise. And dear Myrtle, I've known for a while now. So next, I'm going to feature someone, speaking of Alona. This is another site that Alona has, and I featured her twice because she did something very different here from a traditional blog. And I could have easily put this one in the general interest category. And what she's done here, if you go to the About page, is she's doing an online museum of family heirlooms. So the focus in each of these, and she did mention she hasn't updated it for a while, but it's not a dead site, she swears. But each little block here features a heirloom of some sort, whether it's a document or let's look at this one, cast iron fireplace. And she's very good at posting dates and such. She says, that's me cleaning out the inside of the fireplace since I was the only one that could fit. So, and this somehow has very special meaning to her as part of her ancestry. Current owner of the item is Alan Phillips, that's her father. And then she presents a story about it. Now, if you're just doing facts and figures and dates, and or just presenting pictures. Yeah, you'll draw people in, but not as much as you will if you have a story to go with it, because it's the story that brings, well, in this case, it's the story that brings this fireplace ornament to life, and it's the story she tells on this website that brings her entire website to life. So again, I wanted to feature this one because of its tag as a museum of family heirlooms. And I should have moved this one into the special interest category. Let's see. Okay, not seeing any other questions. If I'm going too fast or I'm going too slow, let me know in the comments below. So the next category that we're going to look at is the category of resources. And what I mean by resources are things that will help you with your research, or things that will help you tell your story. Basically, they're tools. They're more tools that are at your disposal as a genealogist. And these tools are presented in as websites. So they're online tools. Now, the first one I'm going to feature is a generally well-known one. This is Cindy's List. And let's see, where did I capture Cindy's list here? The list began as a one-page set of bookmarks that I shared with my fellow Genealogical Society members at the Tacoma Pierce County Genealogical Society. So Cindy had a bunch of bookmarks, and she decided to make a page of it, and this page has grown into the go-to resource if you're looking for other genealogy resources. So you can browse new links that, so here she must have added and updated some links yesterday, and we can see what those are. History of Irish linen. The topics are endless here. Silk ribbon weaving in Coventry. Warwickshire Industrial Archaeological Society, silk ribbon industry. So interesting focus here on textiles. Not all of these are textile related, but it did look like somebody was submitting some textile related links. If I go back, you're able to submit your own links, and she will review them and or add them to the list. And there, if you find a link that's broken, and she does try and stay on top of these, she's very active on this site, you can submit and let her know it's broken. And if you happen to know that it's changed, provide her that information so she can make that correction. But in general, you find very few broken links. Cindy's List blog. I'm curious. So she's got a blog over in Blogger about Cindy's List. She's Thursday, March 4th, so it's last month. Or, I'm sorry, March. Is it May already? She has stories here. Let me enlarge that a little bit. She's celebrating 25 years of Cindy's List, and then there's several other articles that she provides here as well. So she has not only the resource page, but she also has her own blog. Are you getting ideas? Things that you could do to create your own genealogy or family history website? I hope so, if you don't have one, because it can be a lot of fun. Now, I'm not covering the obvious ones. I'm not going to show you Ancestry.com. I'm not showing you Family Search, Family Tree. I'm not doing My Heritage, Find My Past. I'm not doing any of the big ones. Nor am I doing ones that where we've covered the software-related ones before. Because what I want to focus on is the website and not necessarily some of the promotional things. Louise, yeah, Cindy, she spends 4,000 hours a day to keep her site updated. I don't know how she does it. It has to be the same way Hermione did it in the Harry Potter series. So the next resource I'm going to look at is Evidence Explained. Now, if you're looking for information on how to cite your sources, Elizabeth Schoenmills is the go-to person with her books. I think Evidence Explained is in its third edition. And there's a blog, which I think that was the page we were on, with some quick tips. There's also forums where she, and I think it's her son, answer questions about how to cite things, oddball situations that start up. There's sample quick check models. These are the sorts of things that we as genealogy software creators look at so we can create our templates. And just a lot of information focused on citing your sources. Now, it always comes up, this tends to be U.S. centric, in a sense, in that most of the examples are U.S. centric. But I'm not finding when I go out there that other countries have citation standards, or at least not citation standards that are that much different. So I think this is an excellent resource for all genealogists. Excuse me, itchy nose. And she has reviews. So this could also be considered promotional. But she's promoting just the book. But by itself, without the promotions, this is an excellent genealogy resource. Next, I believe it was Teresa, who I featured in the first blog one, who submitted this page. This is Empty Branches on the Family Tree, which is Linda's website. Hello, Linda. And Linda presents this website as, well, we have an About Me, but this is basically tips and tricks and links to other resources. I've been a family history researcher since 1979. I hope you'll enjoy reading about my search for elusive ancestors and learning some strategies. So again, it's sharing a story and learning from the website about how to do your own genealogy. But this could have gone under blogs, but if looking at the headers, blogs I follow, education and methodology, Genealogy. Genealogy, what is that? Curious now. So it's other writings that she has done over the years. Genetic genealogy, maps and land records. I love maps. Non-US links. So these are all resources, again, that you can use in your research. So, Linda, thanks for that. Melanie says, I really like Linda's blog. Eugene says, true, no standards in the Netherlands. Yeah, and I think the biggest complaint about the standards that are U.S.-based is less about the standards and more about the examples. What people really want is examples in their of documents that are available in their country. So that was back about Evidence Explained. Sorry about that. Here we've got John Alberty. Who is John? So this is, again, blog content. And she's bringing her ancestors to life. Next in resources, I have Genealogy Stack Exchange. Now, I'm going to freely admit, I had never heard of this website until last week when Jan Murphy brought this to my attention. This is, Jan is one of the moderators on this website, but when you say who owns the website or who is the author of this website, really the answer is you. Because this is a community website where anybody can ask or answer questions. And there are all sorts of questions here. DNA-related questions. Well, if we look down at the site stats, there are 3,400 questions. There are 5,500 answers. What does that say about difference of opinion? There's 8,000 users, and this site gets 1,000 visitors a day. And this is part of the Stack Exchange community, which started out as a forum type software answering questions about programming or technology or web building or whatever. And again, it's driven by the community. You earn points for participating. You can use those points. If you have a question, you can use some of your points to create a reward so that people will pay a little more attention to your questions, things like that. It looks like I'm up to 101 points. I've been all over the place over the years. And this is my total Stack Exchange, not my participation in this particular one. Yeah, most of them are my participation in Stack Overflow or WordPress development. So it tries to gamify it to encourage people to participate. But in general, people are more than willing to participate. Again, look, we've got more answers than we have questions. So this is another excellent genealogy resource that I didn't realize was there, or if I had, I forgot. Linda says, this may be back to her website. I'm currently compiling links to digitized U.S. county histories. I've been posting them as I finish, and each state will have a PDF when I finish. So Linda's building something she wants to share. And kudos to you, Linda, for that. All right, so nobody really owns the Stack Exchange. It's a community website. And you are welcome to be part of that community, either to ask questions or to answer them. What's hot this week? Hot questions. Finding records of family name change in New York. Listed as first cousins instead of half siblings. Translating grave markers written in Hebrew. Finding 1939 birthplace in Pomeran, Poland. And active means there's back and forth going on, or that there's a lot of views. I mean, look at this one here. Predicted percentages of shared DNA for DNA tests of half siblings. There's 4 upvotes. There's 3 answers. And now, having 3 answers could be dialogue going back and forth. 8,000 views of this one question and the attached answers. So, like I said, excellent genealogy website. Now, again, a lot of these websites I could have put in a different category. Alona's one on her museum could be in this next category of special interest. I could have moved Linda's back from the resources section back to the blog section. And that tells us that people are doing multiple things with genealogy websites. So genealogy websites, you notice that nowhere here have I shown you a family tree. Genealogy websites are more than family trees, although they can be family trees. And as I'm thinking now, I forgot to add one that would represent the family tree. But I want to move into a category I call special interest. Now, the first special interest one that I'm bringing up was presented by Daniel Landry. And when I asked the question in the Facebook group, do any of you have genealogy websites? Daniel said, well, mine's not really a genealogy website, but... And I think sometimes we focus in our minds too much on the content of having a family tree on the web is what makes a genealogy website. That's not true. Is a family tree on the web a genealogy website? Yes. Are all genealogy websites family trees? Absolutely not. And what I've never seen before is what Daniel's done here is a one-town study, or a one-city, one-place study is the way that he has labeled it. And this is about Lower Town. And let's see, a one-place study researches the history of a place and its residents. In many ways, it is similar to more traditional local history, but with the emphasis on the people and their occupations, life expectancy, migration in and out of the place, and so on. I was fascinated by this, and wanted to feature it as one of our special interest ones, just because I hadn't seen this kind of category before. And I think some of the work that Linda is doing in digitizing U.S. county histories might could fall into the same category. But actually, this is encouraging me. I'd like to do a one-place study now on Guilford, New Hampshire, which the first two censuses were small enough that I could read the whole thing, and just see the ins and outs maybe of the Thompsons in that area. That would be an interesting sub-study within the one-place study category. Now, one-place study reminded me of a very common type of website, and that's the one-name study. And what the one-name study focuses on is getting people together to talk about one surname. Here the website is connected to over 2,500 members, 2,300 studies, and 8,300 surnames. Now, if you want to become part of the community, you can become more than just part of this website. You can also become part of the one-name study that you are interested in. So the first thing that I filled out was Thompson. And I looked up Thompson before, and there hasn't been much change. This one's being focused by Rod Thompson out of Melbourne, Australia. And one-name studies don't stick to a single geographical area, but I imagine that there's so many Thompsons in the world that Rod has focused on the ones in Australia, and there aren't a lot of other people participating with him on the Thompson one-name study to help stretch that out. Now, there may be on other one-name study websites, and there are lots of one-name study groups. I tried to do Charles, which is my paternal grandmother's maiden name. And you see here, now yesterday when I did this, nothing came up. So I must have fat figured something. But let's see. Yeah, it's just presenting facts and figures here. So someone has gathered some information about the Charles surname here. And looking from 1609 to 1941. Here are the names of the people who have submitted various things. I wonder if these are cited. This is a way that I can contact that person. Interesting that something this focus doesn't provide citations of that person in that place. If we look at their sources, there's a journal, member websites. So this is a place for individual member one-name studies to take place. So that's and I guess the One-Name Studies Guild is providing that web space. So that's what we've been looking at. I wanted to do my paternal father's mother's maiden name, because I thought Charles came up empty yesterday. And this shows the one-name study going on for Brooks, and it tells you about the study, variant in the names, which is very important, name origins, which is always very interesting and important as well. Historical occurrences of the name. In my area of Yorkshire, I have recorded the name in 1366. Joha Brooks, who is mentioned for agistment of beasts. I don't know what that is. But interesting things about the name. Frequency, first occurrences, most frequent occurrences, distribution of the name, etc. And often focus now in this day and age on pointing to DNA studies. How are we for time? We're doing okay. So again, I put this in the category of special interest. Next, we have Louis's main site. I'd say it's your main site, Louis. Maybe your software site is your main site, but this one is a special interest site. Louis has created a site, Ginsoft Reviews, where you and everyone else can review software that you have had experience with, or come here to read reviews about the software that people have had experience with. And this really fills a gap, because a lot of software, especially genealogy software, I'm not going to Amazon to shop for my genealogy software. I'm using Google to look up various things. But in general, so I'm not, without an Amazon or something similar, I don't have that comment section that's at the bottom. So this provides that. This is that. Every year, Louis presents kind of the top genealogy programs in various categories. Hey, here's Family Historian Jan. Is Jan here today? I haven't seen her. Ancestral Quest, Ancestral Forest. Let's see if anyone has done one on last week's featured software, Ancestress. Yes. So Frederic Lapierre is represented as president of that group. And here we have, looks like very few reviews, 15 reviews of Ancestress. Here it's obvious someone was having a problem with the software. Somebody else rated it a 5. When I look at reviews in general, I'll look at the top reviews, but then I will also look at the lowest reviews. But what I do is try to read between the lines of the lowest reviews to see if it's the type, if what's being complained about is the type of thing that would concern me, or that would it stop me from buying the software. So make changes and nothing is saved, nor do the relevant boxes appear in the family tree. I suspect this is March 27th, 2021. I suspect if this person, George McPherson, reaches out to the Ancestress community, they can find out what experience he's having, because obviously everyone's not having that same experience. Here's another one. Looks like a user-friendly program. However, I could not get it to create the first file. Kept giving me an error. I had to restart from the beginning. So again, those are things that the developers should be looking at. And I'm sure they are. This is from 2018, so I'm sure that has been resolved. And then I look at the 5-point ratings to see what it is that people liked about it, and to see if those things are things that are important to me. So, Louis, I thank you for providing Ginsoft Reviews for us. And can you answer this question for me? How do you decide what's on the front page? So this is the front page, the index page, and these are the, it says right here, by latest review. So Family Tree Maker up to version 16, these are the latest, has the latest review. Gramps has a recent review. Family Tree Journal. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Is this Family Tree Journal one I should look into featuring on the show? Let's see. I do go to this site to look for ideas, by the way. One of the first genealogy shareware programs, first released in 1987, won a Shareware Industry Award in 1993 as the best home and hobby software. But if I have to go to the web archive to get the software, that may be why I've chosen not to go to it. I'm curious if it has a recent review, what that review is about. Edward McCall. I had the original DOS version and was quite satisfied. The computer that I was running using finally bit the dust. I thought I would go with the online version, but cannot find the download. The site is dated 2004, but nothing found after that. I have old files that I would put on CDs or online version if anyone has any ideas. how I can do that, please. So the software is not being recommended. It's more, well, it is in the next one, February 2021. I love this program. So I've chosen not to feature it on the Genealogy Software Showcase because I haven't seen any activity since 2004. But that doesn't mean it's out there. It's not out there, and that doesn't mean that it isn't something that you might find valuable. It's just that usually software that old may not run on current computers. So I'd rather focus on things that I know the community would be able to use if it was something of interest to them. So thank you for this, Louise. Next, we have Genealogy Webinars. Now, Genealogy Webinars is a website that provides up-to-date information in a calendar format for various things that are occurring on the web. So, for instance, if we look at Thursday, May 13th, this is not everything. Let's look at the week. Here we go. May 13th. It has several things listed on it. This show is not one of them. So there are two calendars, and I get confused because there's two calendars. Host of the website is this. Let me see here. This site provides information about genealogy-related online meetings, classes, hangouts, seminars, and webinars where there is a visual slide share, website, or software demo. And it's really the calendar that is of most valuable here. Why I'm why I'm kind of hesitating here is I actually have an entry in Google Calendars for my presentations, and I'm thinking now, really, Google Calendar doesn't come out on top? Google Calendars. So if you take a look at my Google Calendar, and it's been shared with me. Let me turn off some of these other things. That's Evidentia Software. See, well, that's mine. Of course, I featured it on my calendar. The one I wanted to feature, Genealogy Webinars. So when I pull up Genealogy Webinars, oh, maybe it's not. Let me take off my personal here. It's not showing here. You know what? I must not have updated it recently. In this NERD New England Regional Genealogical Conference are doing some all-day events, or they're accessible all day. I thought, let me go back a couple. Here are a couple other things: comparing Australian content, Census Genie, Family Search has some, etc. When's the last one that I am represented in? Mini Myrt, Mondays with Myrt, etc. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more, because I know that I've added stuff to this. It may have expired, and I just didn't notice it. Or I'm confusing it with something else. Dear Myrtle Events Calendar. There we go. I bet that's the one I was thinking of. No? Okay, so, but you get the idea that there are some calendars out there that can help you if you're looking for online events or shows. I am looking at this and realizing there are some YouTube shows for genealogists that aren't on here. I may reach out to them and recommend that they look into scheduling here, because it is a resource some of us use when we're looking for content, something to view on genealogy. All right, so the next category I want to focus on, and we'll go through this, pick up a little bit of speed. I call it promotional, and I'm not using the word promotional in any negative connotation. This is where people are promoting other content or products or services. That's what I lumped under this, and of course I have two of those. I have a promotional website for this show, which has some videos on the first page for people who want to find out what it's about, an introduction, ability to subscribe, but it also has news of upcoming shows when I remember to update them, and I haven't for a while. I've gotten real busy, and also show notes from various episodes. And I am planning on going back and updating this over the next couple of weeks. Yes, I definitely will, Louis. Conference Keeper is another one. That was the other one. That's the other one that I confused with Genealogy Webinars. So I'm going to have to look into both of those and find out why I dropped off. I suspect it's just because I may have just not sent out. I didn't expect to make it to 20. So anyway, promotional. It tells people about the show. It tells people about me. It tells people about where they can view things. So, and then the other promotional one, I won't hover over this too long, is my product Evidentia. And it's promotional in that it introduces people to the product, but it also, there's also training, and you can buy the product. And when I do blog about it, it would go here as well. But I consider this promotional. Other promotional ones, probably you're familiar with Genealogy Gems. So this is where Lisa Louise Cook promotes her membership. It's a membership site and or promotion for her. It used to be podcasts, and I don't know if she still does podcasts or if everything's switched over to 11Z's, which is a YouTube show that she has. I'm curious now if she, episode 252, when was that? April 14th, 20. Yeah, so she's still podcasting once a month. And so that's promoted here. Her speaking engagements are promoted here. Her YouTube show is promoted here, etc. Again, a genealogy resource I put in the category of promotional. Another one is the Genealogy Guys podcast, where they're promoting their podcast. And you see here are the various episodes of the podcast, but also the show notes. You always hear podcasters say, oh, I'll put this in the show notes, or I'll put this link in the show notes. These are show notes. This one's a little bit short, but it points to some of their other blogs and information. Let's see if I find one that's... I know they've kind of just got back in the groove of things. But let's see here if... Sometimes the show notes are longer than others. You can contact them. You can search the episodes. You can look in the archives, etc. So they have an excellent podcast, by the way, and show notes, usually with the podcast. Again, under the category of promotion is Carly Morgan's website, Family Tree Notebooks. Now, again, I just discovered this about 6 weeks ago, and I discovered it in the weirdest place. I was looking for something on Etsy. I was trying to figure if there are products that I might consider selling on Etsy. And, they call it surfing the net because you catch a wave and you keep going with it. And the next thing I know, I'm on her website buying her products. But what she has, what she's promoting here, is educational material, but very attractive web pages and a methodology for capturing her research using those web pages that really is focused on the outcome, focused on how you're going to present all this information that you're gathering. And I got real excited. I started putting together some stories based on this product that she's promoting, but this is a different kind of promotional website that includes, a shop, information about the pages, information about courses, but also a blog where she teaches about genealogy. Pick up some speed here. Amy Johnson Crow is promoting her podcast here, or her speaking engagements. There's also a membership site. Now, this is another one that could have fallen in the category of a blog, but I put it in this one because when I was looking for it, I was focused on promotional. And you see, she's promoting her podcast, her membership site, and her Facebook group. So that's another one. This is a very modern looking website design. It's designed the way it is for mobile first. So it looks very good on my screen here, my ultra wide 27-inch monitor, but it also aims to look good on a mobile device. So that's the design there. But this is also a type of genealogy website. All right, I'm going to breeze through the societal ones because we're getting close to the time. Societies have to have websites today. They just have to. This is where they can promote membership in their various societies, promote the events that they're sponsoring, provide updates, give their members a place to express what they're doing, share publications, etc. The first one here is the Afro-American Historical and Genealogy Society. Very attractive websites. I really like the way they did this section. I know I said I wasn't going to review, but I thought this was really neat. But part of it might be because I really like this color. But they certainly are presenting a lot of information, and not just for societal members, but they're sponsored by societal members. Another one, here's the Irish Genealogical Society International. Talks about events, has a blog, talks about research, has a library of past webinars, etc. So this is promoting the activities and the reasons to be part of the Irish Genealogical Society. I'm trying to find just enough evidence that I'm Irish to start participating in some of these societies. The North Carolina Genealogical Society, which I really need to think about joining. The problem is their meetings are on Mondays in the middle of the day, and I live 3 hours away. That won't always be the case, but this is for the North Carolina Genealogical Society. They have news, etc. Next we have now South Carolina Genealogy Society, South Carolina, Southern California Genealogical Society has this website about all their various presentations and activities. They also present, and have been for a while, jamborees once a year. Now here they have their 8th Genetic Genealogy Conference these 2 days in June, and then it looks like a week later, the 51st Genealogy Jamboree Conference. I've not been. I planned on going twice, and even got a booth there twice, and had to, for various reasons, illness and family emergencies, haven't been able to go. But I hear it's wonderful. But this is another kind of genealogy website, and they have a better one here where they're promoting their jamboree, which is an excellent activity for a genealogical society, is promoting various educational opportunities, and that's what we're doing here. So that's the end of our presentation. Obviously, there are hundreds, thousands of websites out there that I could have featured in these categories. And the point that I wanted to make is there are a lot of different kinds of websites that qualify as genealogy websites. And I also wanted to show you the different ways people design those websites. And remember that the question you need to have in the back of your mind when you're designing your own website is, what do I want the visitor to experience? What do I want the visitor to experience? So let me bring this episode to a close. This has been our 20th episode on the Genealogy Software Showcase, where today we showcased websites and tried to show the variety of websites that are out there on the internet and maybe inspire you to create your own website. If you do create your own website, please post about it in our Facebook group or in the YouTube comments. I would love to see what you've done there. And that's it for this week's episode of the Genealogy Software Showcase.